Bro, you got fired. Kids, being as pure as they are, can sometimes have a sting in their words. This was precisely one of those moments. Hearing those words felt like a final blow, leaving me stunned. "I will never forget your kindness," were the words of gratitude she expressed to me back then just a lie. "Yes, you're fired as of today. There's no place for a temp like you here." The way she said it had an implied meaning, and I timidly looked up. "My name is Alex. I'm a salesman at a company that handles caregiving products. Sorry, this is sudden, but I need to go out on sales calls." They say sales is all about legwork, and indeed, every day is incredibly busy. Yet, I found this job fulfilling. But there's one person I just can't get along with. "Oh, what's this? You seem awfully busy." "Keith." This person, always sporting a condescending smile, is Keith, my supervisor. Despite having to interact with him often for work, I've always found him difficult to deal with.
"So what's the rush? Where are you off to in such a hurry?" "I've received an urgent request from a nursing home." "Really? Life must be tough for a high school grad temp like you. Well, do your best to make some money, Alex." "Okay."
Keith smirks and pats my shoulder as he speaks. It's not that his words hurt, but this kind of interaction always leaves me at a loss and quietly builds up stress. True, I joined the company right after high school as a temporary employee. Most of my work involves responding to client requests and transporting products. I'm not yet entrusted with securing large new contracts or handling large-scale projects.
"Oh, sorry, Alex. I called you out all of a sudden." "No problem at all. Please call me anytime. Here are the items you ordered. Could you please check them?" "Yes, I will. Thank you. You always accommodate us so well, Alex. It really helps us out a lot." Working in caregiving is tough, isn't it? If I can be of any help, that makes me happy too.
On the other hand, I often meet with our business clients' reps, which has allowed us to establish good relationships. Being able to help people in caregiving feels fulfilling, and that's what I cherish the most. That was one day. Out of the blue, a huge, unexpected job came my way.
"Hey, Alex." "Yes, Keith, what's up?" "Come to the business meeting I'm attending soon." "Wait, the meeting with the leading company in the industry?"
Seeing Keith's smug smile, I was surprised.
"That's right. Be thankful, Alex. I'm giving you a chance to gain some experience. Make sure the presentation materials are ready." "Yes, I'll do my best."
Such opportunities are rare. Though I had to work with Keith, the chance to be involved in such a significant project excited me. I struggled with unfamiliar tasks like preparing presentation materials while keeping up with my daily duties. And finally, the day of the business meeting arrived. "Good morning."
Alex, why are you still here?"
Arriving a bit earlier than usual, a colleague spotted me and seemed surprised.
"What do you mean?" "Just a while ago, Keith hopped in a taxi heading to the venue. I thought you were with him." "Is that so? Sorry, thank you. I'll check it out."
I hastily called Keith. "Hello." Keith, good morning. Are you already headed to the venue?"
"Yes, I am. You're too slow, so I left already." "Sorry, but isn't it still too early to leave?" "To avoid being late just in case, it's only natural to move close earlier, right? This is why temps are useless."
"Sorry."
"Well, anyway, you won't get reimbursed for taking a separate taxi. You should take the bus, got it?" "Yes, I understand."
Although I didn't agree with Keith's reasoning, there was still plenty of time. I gave up and decided to take the bus to the venue as instructed. After clearing up some regular tasks at the office, I headed to the bus stop near the office to go to the venue.
"Good, I still have plenty of time. I've got the presentation materials too."
While checking the time and my belongings, I waited for the bus. Then, I spotted a little girl, looking down and distressed, at the edge of my vision.
It's gone. It's gone. What should I do?
The girl was muttering to herself with a face on the verge of tears. It seemed there were no adults nearby who looked like her guardians. The other adults waiting for the bus were all pretending not to notice her. Are you okay? Unable to just ignore her, I approached the girl.
What's wrong? Are you looking for something? Yeah, I lost the wallet my mom gave me.
I see. While listening to the girl, I looked around. At first glance, there was no sign of a wallet. What should I do? I can't even get on the bus now. Are you riding the bus alone?
Yeah, my bus pass is also in the wallet. It's really important, and I lost it.
The girl was holding back tears, her eyes brimming with them. All right, I'll help you look for it. Really? Are you sure?
Of course, it's important, right? Let's find it. Yeah, thank you.
I couldn't just overlook the situation. I decided to help the girl search for her wallet. We sifted through the foliage of street trees and peeked into roadside gutters.
It's not here either.
But we couldn't find anything that looked like a wallet. As we were searching, the bus I was supposed to take pulled into the bus stop. The bus is here. I'll try to manage on my own from here, so you should catch your bus. It's fine. Another bus will come along soon. Your wallet is more important.
But don't worry. Remember I said we'll definitely find it? Let's keep trying a little longer.
Okay. As I tried to encourage the girl, she nodded earnestly. And then, after searching for several more minutes, a little bit away from the bus stop, at the base of a hedge, I spotted a cute pink wallet lying there. Hey, could this be it? My wallet.
Great, we found it. Look, the next bus is just arriving. Shall we ride together?
Yes, thank you. Though the time for the business meeting was drawing close, I should still be able to make it just in time. I boarded the bus that had just arrived with the girl. This is bad. It looks like I'm going to be late. After parting with the girl and getting off at the bus stop near the venue, I hurriedly pulled out my phone while walking fast. Along the way, the bus got caught in traffic, causing a significant delay in my arrival. The business meeting was about to start soon. In a panic, I called Keith. Hello, Keith. It's Alex. Alex, where are you right now? The meeting is about to start. Sorry, I just arrived at the nearest bus stop. You just arrived. Why didn't you take an earlier bus? Well, I had lost something along the way, and the bus was delayed too, so it looks like I'll be about 15 minutes late.
Lost something? Bus delay? Man, you really need to keep your excuses in check.
On the other side of the phone, Keith exaggeratedly sighed. Fine, we'll proceed without you. Don't bother coming now. But what about the presentation materials? What? Did you really think I'd need materials made by a junior like you? Just head back to the office. Don't even think about coming here, got it? Wait, please, Keith, wait, Keith. He didn't wait for me to finish speaking and hung up the phone. I really messed up. I let out a heavy sigh. Clutching the bus delay certificate I had obtained just in case, I turned back the way I came, heading back to the office as instructed. Returning to the office without being able to do anything, my colleagues greeted me with surprised looks. Alex, what happened? Weren't you supposed to be at the meeting? Sorry, I made several mistakes, and Keith told me to return to the office. What happened exactly? Well, actually, just as I was about to explain, my phone in my chest pocket rang. It was Keith. I hastily answered the phone. Hello.
Alex, what have you done?
Ed.
If you had come on time, none of this would have happened. What are you going to do about this? Please calm down, Keith. What exactly happened? What happened? We lost the deal, that's what. The contract fell through because you didn't show up. But it was you who told me to go back to the office. Don't make excuses. If you hadn't been late in the first place, this wouldn't have been necessary, right?
That is.
Huh? Forget it. I'm really disappointed in you. I'll be reporting this to the upper management. Prepare yourself for the consequences.
Yes, I'm sorry. The phone was abruptly hung up. This situation seemed to be more severe than I thought, and a feeling of unease spread through me. Alex, are you okay? Yes, I'm sorry. I apologized again as the concerned employee peered at my face. So bad. That day, as I prepared to leave, I let out yet another heavy sigh, the count of which I had lost. Afterwards, it seemed Keith had gone straight home, and I hadn't yet had a chance to face him directly. Although my colleagues tried to cheer me up by saying, "Don't worry about it too much," I still felt a heavy burden. How should I apologize tomorrow? While pondering how to apologize to Keith, I walked through the company lobby when...
At what? Why are you here?
I was surprised when the little girl I had met at the bus stop earlier called out to me and ran over.
What's going on? Why are you here?
Well, I promised to go home with my mom, so I'm waiting here. Oh, so your mom works here too? Yes, just like you. She brightly said and thanked me again. Thank you. Because of you, I was able to go to school right after.
That's good. Make sure you take care of your wallet from now on, okay?
Yes. Her smile eased my heart. Though work hadn't gone well, if I could protect this little girl's smile, then it was worth it. As we continued to talk, the girl suddenly exclaimed, having spotted something. Mom. Chelsea, sorry to keep you waiting. Wait, President Bennett. I was shocked when the girl called the approaching woman Mom. It turned out she was Ashley Bennett, the president of our company. Good evening, Miss Bennett.
Good evening. You're Alex from sales, right? Did you help my daughter?
I just helped her a little, nothing major.
Yes, I heard from her. You missed your bus to help her look for a wallet, right?
Miss Bennett said with a smile, her expression soft like a kind mother. Thank you so much, Chelsea. Why don't you thank him properly again? Yes, thank you for helping me find my wallet. The energetic girl thanked me. Her name was Chelsea. Seeing them together, it was clear she and President Bennett were very much alike. We're about to go have dinner. Alex, if you're free, why don't you join us? Are you sure that's okay? Of course. I want to thank you for helping Chelsea. Will you come with us? I really want to talk more with you. See, Chelsea is also asking. All right, I accept your kind offer. That's the spirit. I'll just bring the car around. Wait here with Chelsea. Miss Bennett playfully said as she headed to the parking lot, jingling her car keys. My mom is cool, isn't she? Yes, very cool. Chelsea said proudly, and I couldn't help but agree. Miss Bennett brought us to a restaurant that seemed quite upscale for a young corporate employee like myself. As we entered, we were naturally shown to a nice private room.
The owner and I are acquaintances. Relax and feel free to order anything you like.
Yes, thank you. Look, the meat here is super delicious. It comes with delicious soup. Really, thank you for the recommendation. Encouraged by the familiar demeanor of Miss Bennett and Chelsea, I decided on my menu item. Alex, I really want to thank you for today. No, it was nothing, really. As Miss Bennett once again expressed her gratitude, I shook my head in denial. I truly felt that what I did wasn't worthy of such thanks. And then, reflecting on how the business deal had failed because of me, I was suddenly jolted back to reality. I then turned to Miss Bennett, who was right in front of me, to apologize. Miss Bennett, I'm so sorry about today's business deal. It fell through because I was late. Yes, I'm aware of that. I received a report from the sales department. But you know, I don't really care about that. What? Surprised, I looked up. I met Ms. Bennett's kind, smiling eyes.
Most people would have prioritized the business deal, but you didn't ignore Chelsea when she was in trouble. To me, that's far more important than any business deal.
But
Oh, and I'm not saying this just because it was Chelsea who was in trouble. It's your capacity to care for others that I find most valuable. So don't worry too much about the failed deal, okay?
Thank you so much. Feeling a bit embarrassed but reassured, I thanked Ms. Bennett, who was almost motherly in her demeanor. Our ordered dishes arrived. Unable to decide for myself, I ended up ordering the same dish as Chelsea. We ordered the same thing. Let's eat together.
I'm sure. Let's eat.
The tender meat with creamy soup. Feeling almost like I had become one of Ms. Bennett's children myself, I blushed slightly. Noticing my reaction, Ms. Bennett narrowed her eyes in amusement.
I'll make sure you get home safely tonight. You can even drink some wine. They have a great selection here. I recommend it.
No, I mean, thank you.
Alex, you're so modest. Tell me, why did you prioritize helping Chelsea over the business meeting?
Well, that's because…
Oh, sorry. If it's difficult to answer, you don't have to. I'm asking not as a president, but just as a curious mother.
Saying that, Ms. Bennett gave a troubled smile. Her face was filled with compassion, and I couldn't help but see a resemblance between her and my own mother. She would understand and accept whatever I shared with her, I thought.
The truth is, I still use the wallet my father left me as a keepsake. So when I saw Chelsea had lost hers, I couldn't just pass by. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know about your father. I didn't mean to pry.
It's okay. My father passed away when I was young. Then you were raised by your mother.
Yes, I'm really grateful to her. I want to make her life easier as soon as I can. That's why I'm also grateful to you, Ms. Bennett, for giving me a chance right out of high school. Thank you so much. That's very admirable of you. I'm proud to have someone like you in my company.
She took a sip from her glass of water and smiled warmly.
Alex, I really thank you. I will never forget your kindness.
Her sincere expression of gratitude made her look truly beautiful. I was relieved to receive Miss Bennett's forgiveness regarding the failed business deal. I thought to myself that I wanted to continue working under her leadership. Despite my resolution. What's this? Why is this here? The next day, I was stunned to find a document on my desk. Termination notice. I rubbed my eyes repeatedly, reading the document over and over again. But the words written there remained unchanged. How could this be? Alex, looks like you really did get the axe. Keith? Caught off guard by the voice from behind, I turned around. There stood Keith as usual, smirking in a demeaning manner. Keith, what does this mean? It's the obvious consequence, isn't it? You blew a deal with the industry's leading company. But, to fire me so suddenly, could there be some mistake? I don't know, it's an order from above. If you have complaints, go argue with Ms. Bennett directly. Ms. Bennett, but she said yesterday. What? What about Ms. Bennett? No, it's nothing. I stopped myself mid-sentence and closed my mouth. I realized that discussing my conversation with Ms. Bennett with Keith would be pointless. Keith approached with that unpleasant grin still plastered on his face as I fell silent.
Well, with someone like you around, the company would just keep losing out. The higher-ups made the right call.
With that, Keith patted my shoulder lightly.
Take care, Alex. Clean up your desk, and then you can head out. And don't bother coming back tomorrow. Best of luck with your job hunting.
Understood. My mind couldn't grasp the sudden turn of events. All I could manage was a weak nod in response to Keith's instructions. Why did it come to this? No answer came to mind. I staggered toward the lobby. Miss Bennett, were your words yesterday a lie? The image of her kind expression haunted my farts. Could it be that her smile yesterday was deceitful? I didn't want to believe it. Trying to keep the rising dark emotions at bay, I struggled to control myself. That's right, I should check with Miss Bennet. It might be a misunderstanding. I wanted to believe that. Trying to calm my restless heart, I was about to head to the president's office when… Alex. Chelsea. Startled by Chelsea's call, I snapped back to reality. Waving energetically, Chelsea ran towards me. Are you done with work for today, Alex? Yeah. I thought so. What do you mean by thought so? Her remark struck me as odd. Wondering what she meant, I asked her directly.
Chelsea, do you know something?
Yes. Mom said yesterday that you were fired. What? For a moment, I couldn't believe my ears. Tentatively, I asked again. Fired. Is that what she said? Yes, that's right. So, you see… Chelsea. Miss Bennet's voice echoed in the lobby, interrupting Chelsea's excited chatter. Oh, Mom.
Now, we had a deal to go straight home today, didn't we?
But I wanted to see Alex soon. Oh, Chelsea. Miss Bennet. Feeling unsure and unable to see the whole picture clearly, I tentatively broached the subject with Miss Bennet. Alex, sorry about that. Chelsea has been worried about you since yesterday. It seems she came to see you. That's okay. But, Miss Bennet, about this. As I spoke, I handed her the termination notice that had been left on my desk. Miss Bennet, could you please explain this? I'm sorry, I just can't understand it. Oh, this is… Taking the termination notice from my hand, Miss Bennet tilted her head. Well, you're terminated as of today. As a contractor, that is. What? Surprised by her cryptic whisper, I looked up. Her face was filled with the same compassionate smile as yesterday. Alex. Yes. Sorry, this document is missing a crucial part. Here, take this. Could you read it? This is… I read the document handed to me by Miss Bennet. It contained unbelievable news, and I looked up at her in astonishment. Miss Bennet. Yes, Alex. Your contract as a temporary employee is over. From today, you're a full-time employee. You'll be transferred to a new department, working as my personal assistant. Why would someone like me? I was greatly perplexed. Being the personal assistant to Miss Bennet was a prestigious position held only by the elite within the company. Seeing me lost for words, Miss Bennet chuckled softly. Really? Is it that surprising?
It is surprising. To be the president's assistant, that's… Are you sure about me?
It's you I want. Alex, you see, I'm a single mother too. Really? Surprised, I watched as she smiled sadly and gently pulled Chelsea closer. When Chelsea was still in my belly, my husband passed away. I took over this company from him. I see.
Alex, I wanted to support you. Becoming a full-time employee would allow you to give your mother more peace of mind, I thought. Was I being too meddlesome?
Not at all. Not at all. Overwhelmed by surging emotions, my heart trembled. Unable to articulate my feelings well, I simply conveyed my heartfelt thanks to Miss Bennet with great fervor. Thank you so much, Miss Bennet. I will do my best from now on. Good, I'm looking forward to working with you, Alex. Thus, from that day on, I began working as the personal secretary to Miss Bennet. From then on, I spent most of my days alongside Miss Bennet. Alex, Chelsea will be coming to the lobby after school today. Could you please go home with her first? Yes, sure. Part of my duties as Miss Bennet's secretary seemed to include being a companion to Chelsea after she returned from school. Alex.
Chelsea, sorry for the wait. I'll be going home with you today. Yay. Hey, tonight's dinner is curry. Mom was so excited yesterday, she made enough for you too, Alex. So let's eat dinner together today. That sounds great. I'm looking forward to it.
While I take care of Chelsea, Ms. Bennet treats me kindly in both professional and personal aspects. It feels a bit ticklish, somewhat embarrassing, but I really like my current life. Meanwhile, an incident occurred that shook Keith's position. It seems there was an inquiry from the representatives of the major corporation about the business meeting.
We would like to hear again about Alex, who unfortunately had to miss the meeting on that day.
Alex's, you say?
Yes, we had a difficult time understanding Keith's explanation and had to decline at that time. However, after hearing about Alex's reputation from other companies, we would like to request a product presentation from him again.
It seems that the representative from our business client, with whom we've always had a good relationship, pulled some strings for us. Following that, we proceeded with the negotiations again, and impressively, we secured a contract with a major corporation. Your hard work has paid off, Alex. I'm overwhelmed, thank you. However, we need to do something about him. In the wake of this event, while Ms. Bennet's esteem for me increased, Keith faced severe consequences. His attempt to pin his inadequate presentation skills on his subordinates came to light, resulting in his demotion and subsequent transfer to a small regional branch. Some time passed, and then one day,
"Hey Alex, you're off tomorrow, right? Let's go out. So you should stay over at our place tonight."
While we were having dinner at Ms. Bennet's house as usual, Chelsea started talking about this.
"Chelsea, going out is fine, but staying over is a bit much." "Oh Alex, it's fine. There's a spare room we use as a study."
"But, Ms. Bennet, I don't even have a change of clothes." "Just wait a moment." She reassured me and went into the back room. "Alex, if you don't mind, please use this." "What is this?" I was even more bewildered when she returned and handed me something. It was a set of men's loungewear.
"It belonged to my late husband. There's some underwear too, still unopened."
"Miss Bennet." My chest tightened. Lost for words, I stood there frozen, and Miss Bennet blushed as if flustered. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have. It's weird, right, to offer you such things?" "No, Miss Bennet, it's not that." I grabbed her hand trying to take back the clothes, holding it firmly. "Is it really okay for me to use these?" Chelsea's father had passed away before she was born. Chelsea is in second grade now. It's been over 8 years, and his clothes are still here. Just like the wallet that was my father's keepsake, these must be precious to Miss Bennet as a remembrance of her husband. Isn't this something important to you? Yes, it is, but I want you to use it, so, if you don't mind, could you stay tonight? Alex. Miss Bennet. Hey Mom, Alex. Startled by Chelsea's call, Miss Bennet and I quickly released the hands we had been holding.
"What is it, Chelsea? What's going on, Chelsea? When are you and Mom getting married, Alex?" "What? Marriage? Chelsea, what are you saying?" "Oh, come on, you two are always so lovey-dovey, ignoring me." "Hey, Alex, I want a dad, and I'd like a brother or sister too. So, marry Mom and become my dad."
Well, but... Taken aback by Chelsea's sudden remark, I felt my face turning red. I glanced at Miss Bennet's face. She was also blushing, her gaze fixed on me. "Miss Bennet." "Yes, what is it?" May I call you Ashley?" "Yes, you may." With her face still red, Ashley nodded slightly. Chelsea, watching us with a big smile, seemed delighted by the scene. This unexpected turn of events started a new relationship. It might not take long before I truly become part of their family. My name is Hunter, and I'm 32 years old. This year marks the 3rd anniversary of my marriage to the love of my life. My wife, Emily, was a junior at my company, and I fell in love with her the day she was assigned to my department. Gradually we became closer, and a year after we met, our relationship developed into dating. After 2 years of dating, we finally got married. I adored Emily. She also responded genuinely to my love, and we were enjoying a sweet, sweet married life, but it happened last year. Suddenly, without any warning, her attitude changed.
Okay, I'm off.
Whenever I spoke to her, no matter what she was doing, she used to come running to say have a nice day and give me a kiss on the cheek. But now, even when I say, Emily, I'm leaving, there's no response. What in the world is going on? Hey, don't you seem strange lately? Is something wrong? Nothing's wrong. Hey, look at me. Hey, Emily. Don't touch me. I was flustered by her sudden change. Yet, her attitude towards others hasn't changed. In the midst of these confusing days, my nephew, Nick, celebrated his 9th birthday. My parents, my sister's family, and we all had a dinner party. While enjoying the meal, suddenly Emily collapsed. Hey, Emily, what's wrong? She didn't move at all, even when I called out to her.
Mom, call an ambulance. Emily, hang in there. Emily, what's wrong? Hey, Emily.
Eventually, the ambulance arrived, and she was hastily taken to the hospital. However, she hasn't woken up even after several days. She didn't hit her head when she collapsed. Doctor, why isn't she waking up? There was no abnormality in her brain. We need to conduct more detailed examinations. Did your wife have any chronic diseases? No, nothing. She was perfectly healthy. I see. For now, let's just wait for your wife to wake up. Unable to do anything, time just passed by. Why is this happening? Confused and at a loss, Nick came into the hospital room. Uncle Hunter, how is Emily? She's still sleeping. I see. Did you come alone?
Yeah.
Usually mischievous, Nick seemed oddly hesitant. What's wrong? Well, I have a letter from Emily for you. A letter from Emily. Nick took out an envelope, hesitating whether to hand it to me or not.
Here, take this. She said you must read it alone. It's a promise, okay? You can show it to anyone else.
Understood. After I took the letter, Nick said, Emily, I'll come again, and left. Why did Nick have a letter from Emily? Though I was left with doubts, I decided to read the letter for now. What could this letter be about? Perhaps a confession of infidelity. However, what was written there was. Upon reading the letter, I immediately began to undress my wife. Confronted with a shocking truth, I was frozen, unable to move. Why didn't you tell me? Every year, the company I work for hires a number of new graduates, and about a dozen newcomers join. In my department, fresh new employees are assigned every year, and the year Emily joined, I was appointed as the mentor.
That girl is cute, isn't she? You're lucky, man. Want me to take over as mentor? Hey, that's sexual harassment. Be careful with your words. Besides, you can't just change what Director Tanner has decided, can you?
Though I said that, truth be told, she was very cute, and I fell for her at first sight. Emily, 3 years my junior, wasn't particularly a beauty, but her sparkling eyes were charming, and her smile as warm as a sunny spot was comforting. She smiled the same way at everyone, without discrimination. Her manner of speaking was elegant and refined, and her voice, like the pleasant chime of a bell, was soothing to the ears. Moreover, she had a great personality.
Sounds like a dream, right?
Everyone was enchanted by her and wanted to take care of her in some way. Emily, let me carry that box for you. Thank you, but it's okay, it's empty. Don't worry about it.
Even if you don't mind, Emily does. Sorry, Emily, for the weird scene here.
It's okay, it's fun. Emily never made anyone feel like a villain or disliked anyone. Since this was her way in all matters, Everyone, old and young, men and women alike, were charmed by her. Someone said she was the angel of the workplace, and indeed, that was true. Her presence soothed everyone tired from work. Emily was not only attentive but also competent at her job. Hunter, are these documents no longer needed?
Yeah, I don't need them anymore.
Then I'll put them back, okay? Thank you. She never missed a detail and handled tasks efficiently. Emily, could you tidy up the layout of this proposal? Understood. When is the deadline? She readily agreed and always made sure to check the deadline. She would complete the work half a day before the deadline. She transformed my rugged, bland proposals by appropriately incorporating diagrams and charts, making them look appealing. Thanks to her, presentations went smoothly. Hey, Hunter, aren't you giving Emily too much work? You can say no, you know. You are not his assistant? Yes, but working on Hunter's proposals is really educational for me. There you have it.
Don't get carried away, okay? If you're overburdened, just tell me, and I'll set things straight.
I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Emily never made anyone feel bad. I think she's a well-rounded person. She was quick to learn when teaching her work, and once she understood, she was able to apply her knowledge. Her processing ability was high, and she was versatile in her arrangements. Above all, her creativity was outstanding. When a project that had been stagnating suddenly moved forward thanks to her, I was amazed. It's because of your good teaching. Emily said so, but I was just teaching her ordinary things. What kind of upbringing does one need to become such an incredible person? Being with her makes me feel like I'm becoming a better person myself. It's like fantastic magic. Her magic captivated even my heart. As I took care of her various needs in my role as her mentor, our distance naturally narrowed. It was natural that we started spending more time together, having lunch during meetings, and going out to check out competitors' products. After all, I had fallen for her at first sight, and the more time I spent with her, the deeper her charm became. My pure feelings eventually reached Emily, and slowly but surely, she began to notice me as well. About a year later, we happily became a couple. What did you teach Emily? Just work stuff, obviously. You're aiming for a different goal, aren't you? Jealous, are you? Our relationship quickly became known at work, but nobody criticized us. Just because we were in love didn't mean we slacked off at work. We were careful to draw a line between work and personal life. I didn't want to be seen as going soft because of romance. In fact, having a fulfilled heart and life only boosted my motivation and drove me to work harder. Having the best assistant. It made great work a certainty. When both work and private life are fulfilling, it makes a person kinder. Perhaps it's because you have more room in your heart. Scenes I hadn't noticed before started catching my eye, and when someone appeared to be in trouble, I found myself helping them unconsciously. It all came naturally. Isn't love wonderful? Hey Hunter, you've been looking really cool lately. Wasn't I always? I'll leave that without comment. No comment, huh? Hunter, when I see you, it makes me think that love is incredible. I want to experience a transformative love like yours. I've changed. You have a much nicer smile now. You're kinder, more considerate, and always smiling. The current you is incredibly handsome, thanks to Emily. I became uneasy about what image I had before, but thinking that I was in such a great love story made me feel bashfully proud. Having secured Emily, the most wonderful woman, my life began to accelerate. 2 years into our relationship, on her birthday, I made a once-in-a-lifetime proposal. Of course, she said yes. I was over the moon. To have Emily, loved and cherished by everyone, all to myself. Could there be anything more joyous? My euphoric self was brought back to earth by my colleague's warning. Don't tell me you're going to keep Emily locked up at home, Hunter. That would be a loss to society. That's right, it's a no-go. Emily is competent at work. If she wishes to continue, you shouldn't deprive her of that opportunity. Finally, even my boss Tyler chimed in. Hunter, you thinking of transferring to a regional office? Why would I? It's not good for both of you to be in the same workplace. Why should I be the one to move? It's everyone's consensus. That's ridiculous. Though I wasn't actually transferred to a regional location because of our marriage, the consensus was that it wasn't good for both of us to be in the same department, and Emily was transferred to another department. Of course, I ended up being resented by everyone. But I was happy. Our newlywed life was sweeter than cream puffs, almost melting like sugary candy. My family adored Emily and embraced her wholeheartedly. My mother was thrilled to have another daughter, and they often cooked together and went shopping. Even my usually stubborn and reticent father softened in her presence. Emily, is Hunter making any unreasonable demands? If you have any complaints, tell me right away. I'll take care of it. Take care of it. Am I a demon or what? If you make Emily cry, I won't forgive you. Aren't those supposed to be my lines? She watched our exchanges with amusement. Among the family, my nephew Nick was probably the one who took to Emily the most. Nick, approaching 9, was at a precocious age and became attached to Emily as a beloved older sister figure. Emily, I'm giving you this. What's this? A super rare card. They're really hard to get. I can't accept something so important. I'm giving it to you because it's the most important. You're going to be my wife. Nick, you want to marry me? Of course. Nick, she's my wife. You have to take good care of the person you're going to marry. Listen, Nick, listen well. Emily, let's go play over there. Whenever the family gathered, it was always a struggle for her attention. Though I was a bit jealous, it also made me happy, and I often took her to visit my family. She seemed to enjoy her relationship with my family too, visiting them even when I wasn't around. Especially with Nick, she seemed to play a lot. This is from Nick, he made it during craft time. The clay necklace was clumsy, but it was in colors and styles Emily would like. That kid really understands you, huh? Can a 9-year-old boy be such a man? It makes me a bit jealous. Never thought I'd feel jealous of my nephew. I can't afford to be complacent. She was skilled in the kitchen, efficiently whipping up meals in no time. Nutritious, well-balanced, and perfectly presented. Needless to say, they were delicious. She never cut corners, even when busy, and always kept herself neat. She never said she was tired, and never lost her smile. When you're tired, it's okay to say so. I want to support you too. Thank you, Hunter, but you know, every day is so much fun for me. I never thought I'd be this happy and content just to be with you. Me too, but you have to promise me not to push yourself too hard. Okay, I promise. People said the sweetness of newlywed life would quickly fade, but that wouldn't happen to us. I believed that, until that day. It came all of a sudden. One day, when I came home, Emily wasn't there. Usually, the rattling of keys would be met with her coming to greet me at the entrance, but not that day. Huh, isn't she home yet? But her shoes are here, and the lights are on. What happened? Emily, you're here, right? I called out, but there was no response. Could something have happened to Emily? Anxiety gripped me, and I rushed into the living room. Emily. I called her name again, but still, no reply. Could she have collapsed or something? As I panicked, thinking about the completely unusual situation, Emily walked into the living room. There you are. I got worried when you didn't respond. I spoke, but still, she didn't reply. Emily, what's wrong? Do you feel unwell? Her complexion seemed off to me. It's nothing. It's not nothing, you look pale. I instinctively reached to check her forehead for a fever, but she sharply slapped my hand away. Did you just slap my hand? I couldn't understand what was happening. This had never happened before. There's food in the fridge. Eat whatever you want. Wait, something's off with you. What's going on? Nothing's wrong. It can't be nothing. Something's definitely off. Shut up. Leave me alone. With those shouted words, she left the living room. I was left in a daze. I had never seen her raise her voice like that. Even when she was sick, she would put on a smile and say she was fine. Even during her worst times, she never forgot to thank those concerned for her. I couldn't believe she would act like this. Maybe she was feeling really bad. Everyone has their days, after all. Pushing further might just make things worse. I told myself to just watch and wait for now. But her attitude didn't change the next day or the day after that. Not only did it not change, but it got worse. Leave me alone, shut up, it's nothing. Those were the only words I heard from her. No, it would be better if she responded that much recently. She ignored me 1 out of every 3 times. This behavior was directed only at me. At work and outside, Emily was as usual. With an angelic smile, she eased those around her and handled her tasks efficiently. I watched Emily from a distance. Hey, Hunter, do you need Emily? Should I call her for you? No, it's okay. Don't worry, no one's going to make a move on Emily, you can relax. That wasn't what I was worried about. With her rarely seen smile burned into my memory, I dejectedly returned to my department. This unbearable situation continued for about a month, and then Emily started coming home late. By that time, the dinner table was dominated by grocery store deli. Eating deli food every day was tough, so I started preparing meals myself. Of course, I made enough for Emily too. Even though it wasn't particularly delicious, she always enjoyed my cooking with a smile. However, lately she hasn't even touched it. Doesn't she like what I make anymore? My heart grew increasingly troubled. Why is this happening? The day she stayed out without telling me was the last straw. I couldn't hold back any longer and confronted Emily. Where have you been? You didn't answer your phone, and you left my messages on WhatsApp unread. What's going on with you? Do you have any idea how worried I've been? Ignoring me, she tried to go to her room, but I grabbed her arm to stop her. Look at me. That hurts. Let go. I'll let go if you look at me and explain what's going on. I have nothing to talk to you about. That can't be true. Don't raise your voice. Oh, sorry. In a moment of distraction, she shook off my hand and fled. In my frustration, I blurted out something I shouldn't have. Are you cheating on me? Emily froze for a moment, then glared at me with stiff eyes before locking herself in her room. I was at a loss. Why did this happen? Why did Emily change? Had I done something to hurt her without realizing it? Since we couldn't have a conversation, there was nothing I could do. Amid these troubled days, Nick's birthday arrived. It's a day when, no matter what, the whole family gathers because Nick is our star. Normally, Emily and I would choose a gift together, but this year it seemed impossible. Just as I was wondering what to do, Emily had already prepared a gift. Sadly, she was still her usual self with everyone else but me. Happy birthday, Nick. Here's a present from us. Thank you. Can I open it? Of course. Well, it's exactly what I wanted. Thank you, Emily. She was as adept as ever at choosing the perfect gifts, never missing the mark and always bringing out genuine smiles and gratitude. She truly had a talent for making people happy. I had no idea that Nick had wanted that item. How does she even find out these things? As our star Nick rejoiced, and my greatest support, Emily, smiled kindly, I felt a rare sense of happiness and enjoyed a moment of bliss. Her cooking was, as always, the best.
Nick, would you like some more meatloaf? Yes, please. I love your meatloaf. Thank you.
She stood up to get more servings and headed to the kitchen. Just then, there was a rattling crash. What happened? She knocked down the furniture nearby and then collapsed to the floor. No one could react in time. It was as if time had stopped. It felt like several minutes had passed, but it was probably just a few seconds.
Hey, Emily, what happened?
Emily didn't move an inch, even when I called out to her.
Mom, call an ambulance. Emily, stay with us. Emily, what's wrong? Hey, Emily.
Subsequently, she was taken by ambulance and admitted to the hospital. Days passed, and for some reason, she wouldn't wake up. Dr. Johnson, why isn't she waking up? There were no abnormalities in her brain. We need to conduct more detailed tests. Did your wife have any pre-existing conditions? No, nothing. She's been completely healthy. I see. For now, we just have to wait for your wife to wake up. What on earth is going on? Nothing makes sense. Are you cheating on me? Since then, we hadn't exchanged a single word. To think that might have been the last thing I said to her. Give me a break. As I was racked with worry, Nick entered the hospital room. Hunter, how's Emily? She's still asleep. I see. Did you come alone?
Yeah.
Normally mischievous, Nick seemed oddly hesitant today. What's wrong? Well, I have a letter from Emily for you. A letter from Emily. He pulled out an envelope, hesitated for a while whether to hand it over, but finally seemed to resolve himself and offered it to me.
Hear this. Emily said you must read it alone. It's a promise, okay? You can show it to anyone else.
Got it. While many mysteries remained, as I took the letter, Nick said, Emily, I'll come again, and left. Why would Nick have a letter from Emily? And why was such a letter even prepared? As my confusion tangled with questions, my anxiety deepened. For now, I decided to open the envelope and read the letter.
What?
I was immediately unsettled as I began reading. Written there was the shocking truth. Frantically, I tried to undress Emily but couldn't manage my hands properly due to my haste. As I managed to lift her hospital gown, I saw a clear surgical scar.
What's going on? Why didn't you tell me? Why keep it to yourself? Was I that unreliable?
Emily had been suffering from cervical cancer and had received a terminal diagnosis. She chose to hide this fact from me and face it alone. Emily, who had always had irregular periods, had been visiting the gynecologist regularly. During a routine checkup, the cancer was discovered. Being young, the progression was rapid, and Emily received a terminal prognosis. We didn't have children yet. Even if she overcame the cancer, it would likely be difficult for her to conceive in the future. Knowing this fact would surely devastate me, and I would do everything possible to help her. I would spend money, time, abandon my work, and do everything in my power for Emily. But she did not think this was right. If you're reading this letter, I might already be gone from this world. I had asked Nick to give you this letter if something happened to me. Something like what? I can't forget the look on his face when he asked that. I feel terrible for putting him in that position. Hey, Hunter, could you apologize on my behalf? I'm sorry for making such a weird request and for hurting him. That was how the letter began. This was Emily's will. She had left these last words in preparation for a day she knew would come, filled with her regrets and repentance.
I never imagined it would come to this. I took care of my health, managed stress, and lived each day with a smile. What went wrong? When I was told I only had a little time left, I decided to keep it a secret from you, Hunter. Because I knew if you found out, you'd devote yourself entirely to me, right? You'd try everything to cure the disease.
Of course, Emily was my treasure.
You thought of course, right? Thank you, I'm really touched. But that's exactly why I can't allow it. Because if I didn't survive, Hunter, you would live with regret forever. I don't want you to be an old man dragging along memories of me and crying. So, it's better to be hated while I'm still healthy. If you come to hate me and we end up divorcing, you'll forget about me, right? That's why I decided to become someone unpleasant, she wrote.
Her sudden change in behavior had occurred right after she received her terminal diagnosis. Her unauthorized overnight stays were for treatment and surgery on the lesions. A clear surgical scar remained on her lower abdomen. Emily, you went through all this alone. Why didn't you talk to me about it? I'm your husband.
I wanted you to be happy, Hunter. I really wanted to be the one to make you happy, but if that couldn't be, I wanted to set you free to find another path. I shouldn't bind your heart forever. So I chose to be hated. I hoped you would come to despise me, lose your affection, and naturally we would part. I wanted you to forget me, remarry, and build a new family. I wanted you to always be smiling. That's why I acted so outrageously, but you, Hunter, you never gave up on me. I guess I'm really being selfish, aren't I? Maybe I don't want to be forgotten. I'm sorry, Hunter, for hurting you, but I loved you dearly. I wanted to be with you more and more, always. Thank you for everything. Stay well. I love you from the bottom of my heart.
I cried. I sobbed uncontrollably. I cried out loud like a child. It's unfair, Emily. How am I supposed to let you go? After reading this letter, wake up. I will make sure you get better. I'll make you regret trying to leave me alone to die. So open your eyes. Don't leave me. I took Emily's hand and squeezed it tightly. Don't mess with me. Did you think I just accept this selfishness? I'm angry with you for the first time. Get ready because I'm going to yell at you. Wake up, Emily. Maybe my voice reached her, her eyelids twitched, and she slowly opened her eyes. Hunter. Yes, it's me. Do you understand? You collapsed during the meal. You've been asleep for 5 days now. You're quite the sleepyhead, aren't you, Emily? Her gaze moved to my hands. That letter. Nick brought it to me. You really are something, Emily. If you leave me, I swear I'll haunt you forever. She gave a weak but sweet smile, the same Emily as always. Emily, don't give up. If you give up, I won't forgive you. Let's find a way to beat this disease together. If we're together, we can surely find it. But No, but if you give up, it's game over. Isn't that your favorite saying? I won't give up. I'll travel the world if I have to cure you. Thank you, Hunter. Then, I spoke with her primary doctor, disclosed everything to our family, sought second opinions, scoured books, searched the internet, and looked for ways to treat her disease. Everyone at work helped too. People who had cancer patients in their families shared methods that might have helped with symptoms, and a junior colleague who was fluent in foreign languages helped research treatment options abroad. Among those was information about a new drug trial. Desperate for any hope, I made contact and managed to secure a spot in the trial, leading us to travel abroad. The clinical trial seemed quite tough, but Emily persevered. She dedicated herself to the treatment without a single complaint and expressed her gratitude to everyone around her. Despite the pain distorting her face, she never lost her charming smile, becoming everyone's star even in a foreign country. Hey, Emily, how are you feeling? Thanks, I'm fine. I feel like I could start running right now. That's nice to hear, but you still need to take it easy for now. He'll do the running for you. Okay, leave it to me. Her presence always brought laughter. It even seemed like it was boosting the recovery of other patients around her. Having Emily here makes me sleep so well. I hardly need any medicine. That's wonderful, but remember, you still need to take your medication. I guess so, right, Emily? Please make sure you take your medicine. Okay, if Emily says so, I'll take it. I felt proud of how much everyone loved Emily. The clinical trial lasted several months, and while the stay wasn't cheap, we had some savings, and both of our families offered donations, plus our friends and co-workers helped us manage financially. I want to use my allowance too, Nick said as he offered his money, which made us both cry. Although I couldn't accept it at first, Nick insisted. I'm worried about Emily too. I want to help her. From his hand, she took a single coin and said, "Can I make this into a pendant?" Of course. Will you wear it around your neck? Yes, I'll make it my lucky charm. From that day on, she always wore that pendant, never taking it off. Although the results weren't as expected, her condition improved somewhat, and her prognosis was significantly extended. Now back in America, we continued her treatment. Recently, after a checkup, the doctors were surprised to find that her tumor had significantly reduced in size. It's incredible, the progression has completely stopped. It's slow, but she's recovering steadily. If this continues, a full recovery might not just be a dream. Is that true? It seems the effects of the trial are gradually kicking in.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Maybe your smile is boosting your immune system too. It's not just illness begins in the mind, but maintaining a positive and bright mind is also a secret to health. The doctors were so confident in Emily's recovery, bolstered by her charming, uplifting smile. Yes, that's right, I just need to protect this smile. For her smile, I would do anything. Hunter, I feel like I could completely recover and grow old with you. Of course, that's why there was no need to keep it a secret. You're right, I should have shared it sooner. Yes, not just me, everyone would have helped you. Yes, I need to thank everyone. Getting better is the best thanks everyone could get.
Yeah, I'm going to keep fighting.
We'll fight together. Let me in on it too. What, Nick? You were here. Of course, Emily is going to be my wife, after all. Listen, Nick, I've told you many times, Emily is my. Emily, let's go eat some ice cream. Let's go. Hey. Really, don't leave me behind. Even though her condition is improving, we can't let our guard down yet. No one knows exactly what the future holds. But I believe that our future will continue on, together and forever. I'll never let Emily face anything alone again. Not only am I here for her, but there's also a large group of supporters surrounding her. In times of trouble, we'll rely on each other, help each other, and support each other. By doing so, we can overcome any difficult situation. The coin pendant that Nick gave her still sparkles on Emily's chest, swaying gently. It's a symbol of hope from everyone involved. This pendant will serve as a precious guidepost, linking us and our future together.
Don't lay a finger on my wife. I won't let you touch her.
I was kicked from behind by the department head, Michael, and fell flat on my face. At first, I didn't understand what had happened. Michael is supposed to be single. Still, I wonder what's going on in his head, claiming Hannah is his wife. Hannah gave him, who presumptuously treated her as his wife, a disgusted look. If we don't stop his emotional runaway, the worst could happen.
Why would I be your wife? I'm already married. Hannah is the daughter of Chairman Morgan, and she's my wife. But the last name is...
Reluctantly, I began to explain to him in detail. My name is Tom Taylor. I'm a 42-year-old who works in the sales department of a multinational trading company. My main job is to import and export various goods, and our sales department can be considered the flagship of the company. Being able to speak foreign languages was a must for getting the job since we deal a lot with overseas transactions. I'm especially grateful to my parents for this. My father is American, and my mother is Japanese. My father, who worked for a global trading company like I do now, moved us around various countries since I was young. That's why I can speak English, French, Spanish, and Japanese. I returned to the US when I was in the first year of high school and spent 3 years getting accustomed to the American culture and customs. When it was time to go to college, I had many options but chose to attend a renowned state university in the US. Having spent much time abroad, I wanted to cherish my roots even more. I obtained US citizenship when I was 20. After graduating, wanting to work in a broader world, I joined a multinational trading company. I finally landed a job in sales, making the world my workplace. Time flies, and it has been about 20 years since then. Before I knew it, I had passed the age of 40. I often joke, shoot, I forgot to get married, which always gets a laugh. Don't forget the important things. It's not too late to start looking for someone to marry. Marriage is wonderful. You should experience the joy of having a family soon. Then, Hannah Morgan joined our sales team. She had been working in a different field and had recently switched to our company. She has a bright smile and is quite beautiful without being pretentious. Her voice was also surprisingly charming, and I often found myself enchanted by it. I was not the only one drawn to her charms. Sometimes, I would ask what her previous job was, but she would lightly deflect the question. Judging that it might be a sensitive issue, I didn't ask any further. As colleagues in the same department, we had many opportunities to work together. For me, who was attracted to her, seeing her every day at the company felt like a reward. Honestly, when we walk together, we definitely turn heads. I have mixed race features, and I'm 6'2" feet tall. Hannah is also tall, about 5'7", and we look well matched when we walk side by side. Furthermore, with her almond-shaped eyes, she looks like she could be a model in Paris. It doesn't feel bad at all when people say we look great together. She seemed to feel the same way. At the time, I was 40 and she was 28. Both of us, despite not looking the part, were tentatively exploring our feelings. Then, a major personnel change occurred, and Michael became the head of the sales department. He was 53, single. Before him, I had been the oldest and single guy in our department, but now there was someone older. It's hard to say in a word whether he was competent or not. He has an impressive education, having graduated from Stanford University's doctoral program. However, whether he had climbed the ranks smoothly was questionable. Being 53 and just becoming a sales manager is not exactly a rapid promotion. We thought there might have been some issues, and tried to avoid him outside of necessary work interactions. Gradually, the nature of the discomfort we vaguely felt became clear. He had what you might call a geeky personality. The reason he had remained single until 53 was probably due to his busy schedule following his favorite characters. To him, fictional women seemed to be more of romantic interests than real-life women. This was a world completely foreign to me, but Hannah showed some understanding.
Some people are like that, but I don't think it's right to view it as abnormal. Everyone has their hobbies and ways of living.
Her understanding, unfortunately, backfired. Michael began to blatantly interfere with Hannah.
You really get it, Hannah. No one else here understands me. Well, I'm not that familiar with it either, but anime and such are famous aspects of Japanese culture, and that's wonderful. Yes, exactly. It's Japanese culture. Hannah, it feels great when you support me with your cute voice.
She probably realized her mistake. She gave a forced smile, trying to get through the awkward situation. However, he didn't think she was bothered at all. He kept approaching her for trivial tasks.
Hannah, could you read this document out loud for me? I think I'll understand it better hearing it in your cute voice.
The rest of us in the sales department felt this couldn't continue. We had to protect her somehow. Whenever he tried to approach her, we'd subtly get in the way. Then suddenly, I was assigned to work overseas in Singapore for 3 years. Everyone in the department was furious, suspecting Michael's hand in it. But as a company employee, I had to accept the personnel decision. Being separated from her for 3 years was the hardest part. That was when I first realized how seriously I cared for her. She cheered me up with her bright spirit.
It's just a 19-hour flight. We can video call now so we can see each other anytime. Hannah, not 3 years. Just hold on for 2. I'll make a big impact and come back here soon. Okay, I'll wait. And Tom, don't you dare cheat.
In the end, the transfer became a catalyst for us to express our feelings to each other. I made sure she wouldn't feel lonely and prepared thoroughly before departing for Singapore. Singapore is a vibrant country with a mix of many cultures. Living alone as a man, I don't really feel any inconvenience. Certainly, the temperature here is higher than in America, but those who like summer would enjoy it. Eager to return as soon as possible, I devote myself passionately to work. Whenever I can get Monday off in addition to the weekend, I hop on a plane to America to spend time with Hannah. She also uses her vacation days to come to Singapore. When she visits, we don't just stay in Singapore. We travel together to countries like the Philippines, Malaysia, and India. My stint in Singapore definitely deepened our bond. You never know what will trigger significant changes in life. Thus, I kept delivering results one after another at the Singapore branch. Moreover, all my deals involved the US branch. This was all to ensure that I wouldn't be transferred to another country's branch in the next personnel change. 2 years passed, and I was able to return to the US branch 1 year earlier than planned. Hannah told me that not only she but also the other sales staff were looking forward to my return. However, she said nothing in particular about what Michael thought. My modest hope that he might have been transferred to a different department during these 2 years was dashed. This is how I came to meet Michael again after 2 years. When I landed at the airport and stepped off the plane, I saw Hannah waving from beyond the gate. As I approached with my luggage, she came up with a bright smile and hugged me.
Welcome back, Tom. Are you heading straight to the office from here? I'd like to report back today. I can take it easy for the next few days since I'll have some days off.
We held hands as we left the airport and got into a taxi. The scenery outside the window was all too familiar. Although I had returned several times during my assignment, I had always been out sightseeing with Hannah, so I was somewhat out of touch with the changes in New York. Holding her hand tightly, I asked about a concern that had been on my mind.
Is Michael still the same? Has his attitude improved at all? Not at all. I didn't talk about it much because I didn't want to worry you while you were in Singapore, but he hasn't changed a bit. Now that I'm back, I won't let him pull any strange stunts anymore. I'm sorry you had to endure so much.
Hannah rested her head on my shoulder, acting affectionately. I was happy and gently held her waist. As we were doing so, the taxi pulled up in front of the company. After paying the fare, we entered the building together. We took the elevator to the sales department on the 5th floor. As we got off the elevator, the familiar floor of the sales department came into view.
Tom, you're finally back. Welcome back, Tom. We've been waiting for you.
Greeted with smiles by my colleagues, I smiled back. Suddenly, I was kicked in the back and fell face down.
Don't touch my wife. I won't let you lay a finger on her.
It was Michael who had kicked me from behind. At first, I didn't understand what had happened. He was supposed to be single. Still, I wondered what was going on in his head, claiming Hannah as his wife.
Tom, are you okay? Michael, what are you doing? It's because he's getting too familiar with my wife.
I got up on my hands and reassured Hannah, I'm okay. Hannah gave Michael, who presumptuously treated her as his wife, a disgusted look. If we don't stop his emotional runaway, the worst could happen. Now that I was back, it was clear something had to be settled. Determined, Hannah confronted Michael with the truth.
Why would I be your wife, Michael? I'm already married.
It must have been a shocking revelation for Michael. Sure enough, his voice cracked as he responded.
What? Married? What kind of joke is that? Hannah is my wife.
That's when I delivered another staggering fact.
Hannah is the daughter of Chairman Morgan, and she is my wife. But her last name is...
Reluctantly, I started to explain the situation to Michael in more detail. Indeed, my surname is Taylor, and Hannah's maiden name was Morgan. However, she uses her maiden name at work because it's more convenient for professional purposes. On our marriage certificate, she is registered as Hannah Taylor. She then said, "Here's the proof," and pulled out her driver's license from her bag. Next to her photo on the license, it read Hannah Taylor. Michael's eyes widened, his face a picture of disbelief.
When on earth did you get married? I had no idea. Well, of course, you didn't know. It was a secret. Plus, right after we got married, I was transferred to Singapore. We talked about going together, but Hannah stayed in the US because she was worried about her father.
Our decision to marry came after my transfer to Singapore was confirmed. The moment we knew we would have to live apart, our feelings solidified. That was when I first learned that Hannah was the daughter of our company's chairman, Mr. Morgan. One might assume that the chairman of a multinational company would be a foreigner, but I had heard that our company's chairman was American. Apparently, the founders were a duo, one American and one Japanese, and the American founder was Chairman Morgan's father. Because of such a background, Hannah was raised without any financial troubles. Her mother passed away when Hannah was young, and her father, Chairman George Morgan, raised her with great care. Hannah, having deep interactions with international figures, grew to love the country and culture of her American roots. Since my parents lived abroad, the only people present at our first family meeting were me, Hannah, and George. I was relieved that he was pleased with our marriage. Apparently, George had suspected something about our relationship and had conducted a background check on me a little while ago. After the investigation confirmed my good reputation at work and my sincere approach to life, he felt comfortable entrusting his daughter to me. Hearing this, I was merely overwhelmed. We decided not to have a wedding ceremony. Hannah wanted to keep her identity as the chairman's daughter hidden at work and continue her job as before. We informed only a few close friends and asked them not to disclose it. She continued to use the Morgan surname and remained in the same sales department as me. Some people say that spouses should work in different departments, but we had been working together even before marriage, and it had helped us excel. We wanted to keep working together as a team. Thus, our married life began with me in Singapore and Hannah in America, living separately. However, it didn't feel like we were that far apart. We kept a video chat app open all the time while at home. Even if we didn't have anything particular to say, we streamed our living spaces to each other. Just seeing each other's relaxed forms and hearing each other's voices with the real ambient sounds was comforting. There was no need to always have something to talk about. Just sharing the present moment was important and brought us happiness. Listening to the explanation, Michael began to tremble.
It can't be. My Hannah belonging to another man? I don't want to believe it. I've known Hannah much longer than you have. What are you talking about? You only came to the sales department after Hannah had already transferred here. So we have known each other longer. No, you don't know anything. I have known Hannah since before she started working here, from her previous job.
She gasped and cut off her words with an "oh." Indeed, she was always reluctant to talk about what she did before joining our company. Initially, I was curious, but eventually, it didn't matter much to me anymore.
Hannah used to be the voice of Cutie Pink in the Pretty Squad Cuties for the longest time. I was a member of her fan club and always made sure to get the front row seats at the voice actor events.
I was taken aback and could only gape in surprise. I never imagined that Hannah had been a voice actress. Indeed, she has a very appealing voice that instantly makes people feel warmly towards her. Voice acting has become a glamorous profession nowadays, almost as popular as idols or celebrities. A female colleague exclaimed joyfully.
Hannah was Cutie Pink. My daughter was a huge fan. She even has the doll. I did wonder why the show ended so abruptly. When I decided to quit, there was talk of finding a replacement, but the opposition was so fierce that it was called off. I even received comments saying it was better to end the show than to change the voice. I get it. For fans who are truly in love with their two-dimensional heroines, it's like having a different person altogether.
I had heard that there are men who support female characters in 2 dimensions and sometimes refer to these characters as wives. I have no intention of criticizing that. People have different ways of thinking, and as long as they don't bother anyone else with their lifestyle, there's no problem. But it was a different story when such an individual was causing actual trouble around them.
When Hannah stepped down due to rage, I was devastated. I wondered what I would live for. But then to meet her by chance at work, if that's not fate, what is?
This revelation made Michael's over-the-top behavior somewhat understandable. He was feeling sad because his favorite voice actor had retired, but then he was assigned to a department where that very idol worked. Even someone other than Michael would feel it was fate. Hannah looked embarrassed and looked down.
I never meant to hide it. I just didn't want to be celebrated just for fun. When I switched jobs, my father told me to face my new job with resolve. So I left my past behind. Were you working under your real name? Of course, I was using a stage name, but my voice is distinctive, and Michael recognized me immediately. He attended every event and remembered me from the autograph sessions and photo shoots.
It turns out she was quite the star. However, new talent constantly enters the voice acting industry. Even when participating in auditions, opportunities for newcomers with young and charming voices have increased. Thinking it was probably time for a change, Hannah consulted with her father and decided to start a second career at our company.
Hannah, it's not too late. Break up with that frivolous man and marry me. Then you be my Cutie Pink forever. Stop saying creepy things, please.
She turned pale and clung to me. I firmly supported her. It seems a major problem had arisen in the sales department, as reported by someone from another department to the boss. Chairman Morgan entered the room.
What's all this commotion? I understand today is Tom's first day back and some excitement is expected, but isn't this a bit much? Mr. Morgan, I'm terribly sorry. I've just discovered that Hannah is your daughter. Just because you now know Hannah is my daughter, does that change your position in any way, Michael? I've heard all about you from her.
Upon hearing those words, Michael seemed to have made a big misunderstanding. He apparently thought that Hannah had feelings for him and had been reporting his excellence to George.
Mr. Morgan, I've always loved Hannah, even from her voice acting days. I want to continue walking with her in life. Please accept our relationship. What are you talking about, young man? Hannah has been married to Tom for 2 years now. She is troubled by your actions. If you can't adjust your behavior, you will have to leave this company.
Hannah, clinging to me, seized the moment to speak out.
Considering how long you've supported me during my voice acting career, I've been patient. But I can't stand it anymore. I'm Tom's wife, not your wife. I can't stand even breathing the same air as you. Hannah, don't say such things. To think I love you this much, what a cruel thing to say. You're being deceived by Tom. It's not true love if you can stay apart for 2 years so easily. Dad, please do something. I can't bear to work at a company with him.
George looked at Michael intently before speaking quietly.
Michael, you'll have to leave. Your obsession with my daughter is abnormal. To prevent the worst case scenario,
It's necessary to separate you and Hannah.
no, I refuse to be separated from Hannah.
I felt the pathological nature of his obsession with Hannah. George seemed to feel the same, and decided to hold off on firing Michael. In a situation that truly embodied the phrase "keep your friends close and your enemies closer," George chose to allow Michael stay at the company while keeping him at a distance from Hannah. Michael was demoted from sales manager to general affairs manager. Furthermore, the company arranged for him to receive counseling through an affiliated institution. Initially, Michael resisted and complained, but eventually, he began to quietly attend counseling sessions. To inform all employees that Hannah and I were married, George decided to host a grand wedding reception. There, George and I finally had the chance to see Hannah in her wedding dress. Tall and stunning, she looked like a model. At the reception, we were blessed with many well wishes from the employees, and George made a surprising announcement. He declared that I would be appointed as the next CEO during the upcoming personnel changes. I knew about this in advance but was anxious about the other employees' reactions. When the announcement was made, the room erupted in applause. Moved by emotion, I stood up and gave a greeting. Hannah, beside me, clapped her hands happily. I renewed my resolve to work hard, especially for her sake. Now widely known as George's daughter, Hannah decided to take a break from the company. Determined to have children while still at a safe age, she decided to focus on fertility treatments. With this in mind, we wanted to change our environment and decided to relocate to Australia. Although my days were busy traveling the world as CEO, I made sure to cherish the moments spent just with Hannah. Perhaps due to favorable circumstances, Hannah safely gave birth to a daughter. We named her Amanda. As her parent, I may be biased, but she is a charming child and will likely grow up to be beautiful. George, now our doting grandfather, frequently visited our home in Australia. Hannah seemed happy with her relaxed lifestyle. As for Michael, who had troubled Hannah, it seemed the counseling had worked, as his obsession with Hannah diminished. However, losing his star was a significant sadness that led him to despair. He became reckless as his fantasies about Hannah were denied. Unable to truly love a real-life woman, and wanting to fully enjoy the world of anime, he quit his job. Consequently, he stopped going to counseling, and began to revert back to his old lifestyle. Around that time, a character in his favorite anime, voiced by someone with a voice similar to Hannah's, became popular. Michael gradually became obsessed with the characters and their voice actors. With each event, he participated in the front row, spending a substantial amount of money. This was similar to his behavior with Hannah, but with a twist. The voice actress, who had a voice similar to Hannah's, was not particularly attractive. At the event, after seeing her actual face and style, Michael became completely despondent. He began to withdraw into his home, and his savings started to dwindle. He then shifted his interest to a popular mobile game featuring beautiful characters. To fully enjoy the game, Michael had to spend a significant amount of money, and he became completely addicted. Due to the expenses, he accumulated debts, sold his condominium, and moved into a small apartment. What is important varies from person to person. Michael's choice to spend on virtual characters was his own. However, as he spent all his waking hours playing and participating in various events, no amount of money seemed enough. His quest to perfect his avatar led him into a bottomless pit of spending. Michael was perhaps happiest living in a fantasy world of dreams and illusions. Each time Michael's story comes up, I find myself pondering the nature of human happiness. Time flies, and soon Amanda will be 3 years old. Day by day, she grows more adorable and is the talk of the neighborhood for her beauty. Some celebrities have even suggested she enter the show business world. However, having faced many challenges herself, Hannah is hesitant to involve Amanda in such a world. I share the same opinion, and concluded with Amanda that it's best to wait until her intentions become clear. Lately, Hannah has been feeling the urge to return to work. She was indeed vibrant during her time in the sales department. Our company has a daycare, which allows mothers with young children to work energetically. Hannah wanted to return to work, and I was happy to support her decision. When she was considering resuming her career, we debated whether to hide the fact that she was the CEO's wife. Given Michael's past behavior, we eventually decided to disclose it and arranged for her to work in our Australian branch. Hannah thrived in her role and seemed truly happy. Seeing the joyful smiles of my wife and daughter has become my greatest joy and purpose in life. The job of a CEO is tough, but as I lead a fulfilling life, I consider myself the happiest person in the world. I miss you. At her words, my face turned as red as a lobster. So, does that mean you want to come over to my place, Natalie? When I asked for confirmation, she also blushed. She covered her face with both hands. Apparently, she tends to make natural and careless remarks. Heart pounding, I raised both my hands. My name is Jason, I'm 30 years old. I'm a truck driver. Today, like any other day, I picked up cargo at the airport to transport it to various destinations. As a kid, I once got to ride in my father's long-haul truck for a field trip. He looked cool driving, hauling cargo, and communicating with clients, and I decided I wanted to be like him when I grew up. It's noon now. At a convenience store big enough for my truck, I bought lunch and was taking a break when my phone rang. It was Derek. He's been my close friend since middle school, and believe it or not, he's now a pilot. Though we both drive for a living, our jobs couldn't be more different. Yet we've stayed good friends. Hey, what's up? I answered the phone casually, hearing a chuckle from the other end. That's your opener. No, long time no see. Or how are you? It's hardly long time no see, when we just saw each other briefly at the airport last week. When I'm loading cargo at the airport, Derek sometimes pops up. If my work schedule and Derek's free time align, he comes over to see me. I think he's really diligent. By the way, I've never gone out of my way to look for him. Well, whatever. I've got a reason to. You free next Sunday? Hang out with me. I grimaced, unseen on the other end. Don't assume I'm free. But I am. What are we doing? I'm not up for a date with you. I joked, and Derek laughed. I wouldn't want that either. Actually, I've got a dinner planned with a girl, but it turns out she's bringing a friend. I don't want to be the only guy. Can you come? The friend is a flight attendant. At the end, I could almost see his mischievous grin through the phone. Even if I dine with a flight attendant, what good does it do me? I'd just be making you look good. Have you got your eye on one of them? As I spoke, he fumbled for words. Such a transparent guy. Geez, fine. I'll be your wingman then. Both of them are probably after you. It's cruel, really. You should introduce them to some better guys. As I mixed self-deprecation with my response, his tone became serious. You're a good man, you know. His sudden compliment made me a bit embarrassed. Come on, there's no comparison between a glamorous pilot like you and a truck driver like me. See ya. I hung up the phone, feeling awkward. I suppressed a grin. That guy, he really is a good guy. Just one kind word from him lifted my spirits, and I sang to myself while driving. A week later, dressed in the best outfit from my drawer, I met up with Derek. Tall and handsome, he looks good in anything he wears. That day, he was dressed in a fine white knit sweater paired with jeans. Hope you spill pasta sauce all over that. I teased, and he chuckled. maybe I'll skip ordering anything with tomato sauce. The venue today was an Italian restaurant. Fancy pasta doesn't suit me, but this place has a salad bar with an authentic curry included. While picking a restaurant that would appeal to the ladies, Derek also considered my tastes. From my perspective, he is the perfect guy. It's hard to believe he's still single at this age. After a while, two women arrived at the restaurant, both smiling. Sitting across from Derek was Amber. She's a cute woman with short black hair that suits her well. Her knee-length pink dress also looks great on her. Sitting across from me was Natalie. This beauty had her black hair pulled back into a bun, looking as if she came straight from work. She was dressed in a striped shirt and pants. Her good figure was obvious at a glance. Both of them, 2 years younger than us, are 28-year-old flight attendants. After introductions were made, Derek started chatting amiably with Amber, who was sitting in front of him. I wondered if she was the one he was interested in as I observed them. It's so obvious, Natalie and I might as well not even be here. Honestly, I'm not the type who's good with words, nor am I a guy who can chat up women easily. Usually, I mutter to myself while driving my truck and laugh heartily with the old guys at client sites. While wondering what to talk about with her, I safely started a conversation about the weather and the temperature, and she kindly smiled at such dull chatter. After a while, the waiter came to take our orders, and salad plates were distributed to everyone. "Derek, let's go," Amber said in a sweet voice, inviting him. Derek, with a slight smile, asked Natalie and me, "Can we go ahead and get our food first?" In such a setting, I couldn't say no, so I gestured for them to go ahead. I thought we all could have gone together to get our food, but if they say they'll go first, we just have to wait. Left alone at the table, feeling a bit bewildered, Natalie quietly started talking to me. "I'm sorry. That girl, Amber, likes Derek." I was a bit surprised. I thought both of them liked him. Actually, Amber initially invited him to dinner. He gently declined, citing that being alone together might lead to misunderstandings. What a situation to be in. Then, finding Natalie nearby, Amber quickly grabbed her, saying, "If she is with us, it won't be just the two of us, right?" And that's how Natalie got roped into this. She asked for my help. I couldn't say no. I hesitated a little, then asked quietly, "So, Natalie, do you also like Derek?" I trailed off, but she shook her head with a smile. "I respect him as a pilot, but I have no romantic feelings for him. I know how Amber feels, and besides, I have no desire to get married." Such beauty, and no desire to marry, what a waste. Oh, maybe not. Was that a subtle hint for me? This meeting was orchestrated for Derek and Amber, and we were just extras. And these extras weren't going to end up together, just to be clear. I chuckled to myself, but knowing the situation made it easier not to feel pressured. I just needed to have a pleasant conversation with this beautiful woman for about 2 hours. Just as they returned, we headed to the salad bar. I filled my plate to the brim with salad and then headed to the curry station to heap on some rice. I topped it off with what turned out to be green curry. Seeing my plate, Natalie's eyes widened. "Are you really going to eat that much curry, even though the pasta is coming?" I grinned and replied playfully, "Because my job is physically demanding." She chuckled softly, "But the curry does look delicious. You don't often find all-you-can-eat green curry, do you?" "I wish I could have some too," she said, looking sadly at my plate. Apparently, if she starts eating curry, she won't be able to finish your pasta. "If you'd like, maybe I could take some of your pasta." When I suggested this, she blushed deeply. "What? No, that's okay. I mean, I couldn't have you eating my leftovers." I was puzzled. "No, if you just share some pasta with me first, it won't be leftovers." At my words, She turned even redder. Oh, right, yes, that makes sense. Oh, how embarrassing. Trying to suppress my growing affection for the deeply blushing Natalie, I smiled. Then it settled. I really wanted to try the cream sauce pasta you ordered. Seeing her still embarrassed, I quickly returned to our table. Back at the table, Amber was startled by the amount on my plate. Meanwhile, Derek, familiar with my hearty appetite, looked unfazed. But he warned, "You're reaching the age when metabolism starts to slow down. Don't overeat, or you'll end up a fat old man." Still, they were engaged in conversation, so I started eating my salad and curry. Delicious, I inadvertently exclaimed, interrupting their conversation. Is it really that good? When asked, I nodded vigorously. Just then, Natalie returned. Her plate had just a modest amount of rice and curry. She took a bite and her eyes widened. This is awesome. Hearing this, Derek stood up. I'll get some myself. Followed by Amber, who also got up. I want some too, but, whoa, my diet, she said. Despite her hesitation, she ended up following him. Once again left alone at the table, we shared a wry smile. Even though the four of us were supposed to be together, it often ended up with just the two of us chatting. The more we talked, the more it became clear how much Natalie loved her job. I don't want to quit my job. That's why I don't want to get married. At her words, I tilted my head. Why would you have to quit your job if you got married? Isn't it normal for both partners to work these days? She smiled wryly at my question. Being a flight attendant is pretty demanding. I often have to work shifts like 2 nights and 3 days, or 3 nights and 4 days, making it hard to balance work and home life. I see, so she often has to be away from home. Then a husband who supports you would be great. There must be plenty of men who'd want to support someone like you. I laughed heartily, but she just gave a wry smile. Men, even if they say that, they still have their pride. Her expression was a bit sad. Actually, my mom was a flight attendant too. Hearing this, I was surprised. A mother-daughter pair of flight attendants. That's amazing. She blushed a bit. She didn't plan to marry either, but my dad kept confessing and proposing, insisting he would support her, and she married him thinking he was the one, but... Her face clouded over. By the time I was old enough to understand, he had become an abusive drunk. My heart sank. Just a few years into maintaining a household, it seems he grew weary of it. Especially around 30 years ago, the belief that men worked outside and women maintained the home was still strongly prevalent. While his colleagues advanced in their careers, he had to leave work on time to take care of his daughter. Cooking, doing laundry, cleaning. Why should I, a man, be doing what women are traditionally supposed to do? And my beloved wife rarely comes home. This became more apparent after their daughter Natalie was born. Despite giving up career advancement to support his wife, he couldn't adapt to the life of supporting his daughter as well. And then my mother, she quit the job she loved, Natalie muttered with a hint of anger. With a hint of anger, she muttered. After quitting her job and trying to stabilize the family, she struggled, but ultimately, their relationship did not improve, leading to divorce. Her father, possibly affected by his drinking, passed away a few years after the divorce. No matter how much they promise to support you before marriage, I just can't trust it. Seeing Natalie suppress her anger and force a smile pained my heart. In my family, my father was a truck driver, and my mother worked part-time. Similar to her situation, my long-haul truck driver father would be away for days on end. During that time, my mother took on all the household responsibilities. Although usually gentle, she would scold us brothers fiercely if we misbehaved. It was as if she were taking his place. And when he came home, she would cook delicious meals, and we would all gather around the dinner table. Probably because your mother was there to maintain the home. You have happy memories, right? Natalie suggested. I shook my head. At one point, she found a job she wanted to do, I said. Natalie looked surprised. She became a tour guide for international trips. Her eyes widened even more. Originally proficient in French, she had worked vigorously as a tour guide before marrying my father. After marrying and deciding to start a family, she quit her job, but while she was happy at home, meeting an old colleague from her tour guide days inspired her to work again. She thought she'd wait until all the children were grown, but wanting to keep her French up to scratch, she suggested to my father that she'd like to study French again. Without hesitation, he said she could just go back to being a tour guide. When she expressed concern about being away from home for days, he promised to switch to shorter truck routes to support the home. Thus, he truly requested a job transfer at his company, which was granted, and he managed the household perfectly. Your father, that's incredible, Natalie said, her voice filled with admiration. So, Natalie, if you really want to continue as a flight attendant, there are people who will support you, I said with a smile. That's when Derek interjected. If it was Jason, he'd support you wholeheartedly. Suddenly joining in, he said so. Man, you're silly. Why would someone like Natalie consider someone like me? Speaking to Derek, my tone became casual. Regretting my rough language in front of a lady, Derek just grinned. Hey, how's that cat you saved doing? With the topic suddenly changing, I was taken aback. What? Natalie gasped softly, and I frowned. Yes, it's fine now, the wounds have healed, and it no longer needs that annoying thing around its neck. The Elizabethan collar, right? Is that the one? At the airport? Natalie asked in a trembling voice. Yeah, that's right. As I was about to leave the airport after loading up the truck, some jerk hit a cat and just drove off. The car that hit the cat just drove away. In a panic, I parked my truck nearby and rushed to the cat. It was limp, but still breathing, so I quickly took it to a vet, promised to pick it up after work, and even called several times during the day to check on its condition. When I finally finished work and went to pick up the cat, it was bandaged up in several places and had an Elizabethan collar around its neck, trembling with anxiety. It's still not quite used to me, gets a bit scratchy, but it's really cute. As I slackened my cheeks fondly, Natalie trembled. It was you. Did you know? Derek nodded knowingly. I was clueless. What do you mean? When I asked, Derek explained. The day I rescued the cat. By coincidence, Derek and Natalie, who were also at the parking lot walking to work, witnessed the cat being hit by the car. The two of them ran towards the scene, but I was quicker. When I swiftly jumped out of the driver's seat and took care of the cat, Natalie murmured, "That's wonderful." I've never seen Natalie look so enchanted before. I thought maybe, just maybe, you two might hit it off. I wasn't going to say anything if your conversation didn't go well, but the vibes seem good, right? Derek said, glancing at Amber. Yet, it's a good mood. Jason seems like he would listen to all of Natalie's whims. Amber said, grinning and resting her chin on her hand. Then, Derek and Amber stood up. Well, we'll leave you two alone then, they said, linking arms. What? Natalie exclaimed in surprise. Actually, we're dating. It's a secret, okay? Natalie, with her mouth agape, stammered, but I thought you admired him, and I was helping out. It only became official recently. I had to keep up the admiring act, right? Amber said with a mischievous smile. Derek told me he wanted me to meet someone, so I helped out. It seems the whole setup was for me and Natalie. Look, Natalie, in my opinion, Jason is the best guy I know. You can trust him. Derek said with a flashy wink. then even paid the bill before leaving the restaurant. Left alone, we were enveloped in silence. "Sorry, this turned out to be a weird kind of mixer," she said, her face turning red. "No, it's okay." The silence felt uncomfortable, so I offered her my phone. "Want to see the cat?" As I brought up the photo of the cat on the screen and handed it to Natalie, she asked, "It's cute. What's its name?" As Natalie touched my phone, I felt increasingly aware of her. Despite trying not to think about it, her earlier compliment and being told we were a good match made me conscious. "I picked it up at the airport, so, airport," I said, revealing the simple name I had given it. Derek had laughed heartily at my straightforward naming. But Natalie didn't laugh. "It's cute." Praising the name airport made my heart race. "I'd like to meet it." I blushed red like a lobster. "So, does that mean you want to come over to my place, Natalie?" When I asked for confirmation, her face turned bright red. "What? No, not like that, I mean, yes, it is like that, I'm being forward." She covered her face with both hands. It seems she sometimes makes naive and unintentional remarks. "Please, come and play with the cat. I promise I won't make any moves. I won't do anything." I raised both hands as a sign of my promise. Seeing my hands raised and my earnest face, Natalie burst into laughter. "I trust you." I firmly maintained my composure and nodded seriously. I had planned to set another day, but Natalie seemed eager to come to my place right then. Pointing this out might make her flustered again, so I decided to just bring her home. She had come by train, and I had driven. The ride in the cramped car was a bit nerve-wracking for both of us. We arrived at my small, shabby apartment. I live here alone. Thanks to the lenient pet policies of the rundown apartment, the landlord easily allowed it. As I unlocked the door and we entered, the cries of airport echoed immediately. Airport, deciding not to exert any unnecessary effort, finally warmed up a bit after seeing me. Usually, it just meows once and then zones out, but knowing there was a guest, Airport started circling around Natalie, sniffing and observing her. I chuckled wryly, urged her to sit wherever she liked, and started boiling some water. She looked around the room curiously. "It's quite clean. Cleaner than my place, maybe." Hearing this, I chuckled. I don't have many belongings to begin with, and my parents drilled into me the importance of housekeeping. Like my father suddenly taking over the household chores to support my mother's job, life is unpredictable, and they wanted me to be able to manage on my own, so I was thoroughly trained in domestic chores. Hearing this, Natalie smiled and petted Airport, saying, "You really have wonderful parents." "Really, it's settling in." I was astounded. It rarely came close to me. Yet here it was, purring and cuddling up to her. "Maybe you would be better off as its owner." As I served the tea, she shook her head sadly. "No, I can't. I'm away from home too much." Then, looking at me as if realizing something, she asked, "By the way, Jason, aren't you often away as well? What do you do with Airport when you're gone?" Scratching my head, I admitted, "Actually, I got a transfer." Natalie's eyes widened. Picking up the cat made me first consider what would happen while I was away. I thought about having my parents take care of it, but since I was the one who found it, I felt responsible to handle it myself. My company has two main operations: loading cargo at the airport and transporting it long distance, and loading cargo and distributing it within the county. I applied for a transfer to the local distribution. Actually, I swapped places with my father. My father, who works at the same company, had switched to local routes after deciding to support the household, and had continued on that path. When I discussed the cat with him, he casually said, "Then, how about we switch? I don't have to be home as much now that you kids are all grown up." and he went straight to our boss, President Fumpson, to make it official. I was worried about him suddenly switching to long distance at his age, but he has always loved driving and took pride in his long-haul work. Now, he's happily back on long-distance routes. You changed your work style for the cat. She was amazed, her eyes wide in surprise. Of course, I'm responsible for a life, after all. Natalie covered her face. What's wrong? Concerned she might be feeling unwell, I was met with a shocking confession. I think I'm falling for you, Jason. What? I yelled out in surprise, so loudly that the neighbor banged on the wall. I had forgotten about the thin walls. Decades later. Hannah, Tommy, did you brush your teeth? Got everything ready? My calls were met with a languid reply from Tommy, a first grader, and a firm "I already did it" from Hannah, a responsible third grader. These were the precious children Natalie and I had together. Unbelievably, since then, we started dating, moved in together on a trial basis without any major issues, and despite my doubts about proposing to a beautiful flight attendant like her, I went ahead with a proposal, prepared for rejection. But Natalie excitedly exclaimed, "I've been waiting for this. I've always been waiting. I'm so happy." And she hugged me tightly. She confessed she couldn't say it herself because she felt like she would be a burden. But that wasn't true at all. Indeed, being a flight attendant is demanding. Only after we started dating did I fully realize it. Even though I knew about Derek's pilot schedule, the actual days I could spend with Natalie were incredibly few. Although I sometimes felt lonely, seeing Natalie so vibrant and passionate about her work was incredibly heartwarming. She was truly precious to me. At the same time, I discovered that Natalie was quite disorganized when it came to personal life. The first time I visited her apartment, I was surprised. It looked tidy at a glance, but suddenly, a closet's contents came tumbling out like an avalanche. I couldn't stop laughing. It was like something out of a cartoon. What she struggled with, I excelled at. Conversely, things like shopping, meal planning, and organizing dates and trips, which I'm bad at, were Natalie's strengths. Currently, Natalie buys groceries in bulk on her days off and prepares meal plans. I follow these plans and cook accordingly. Sometimes, we sneak out for a meal, but I make up for it by using the extra ingredients to prepare lunch boxes during the day. In the evening, Natalie returned home laden with bags. The kids joyously greeted her. Airport, now quite an old cat but still sprightly, slowly joined the welcoming circle. I love this scene, where our entire family gathers at the entrance. Welcome home. I cherish being able to say these words every time. I'm home, thanks for everything. Natalie always adds a thank you. After the family dinner, Natalie bathed with the kids and read them a bedtime story. Usually, the kids head straight to bed when it's time to sleep, but they always wait for Natalie to read to them when she's home. It must be an irreplaceable time for Natalie too. After putting the kids to bed, Natalie came out of the bedroom and smiled at me. I made some tea, and we sat side by side on the sofa. Amber just asked where we're planning to go for the kids' summer vacation. Any ideas? I responded with a smile. How about camping? Or an amusement park? What if we do both? That sounds great. Derek and Amber got married a few years ago. Amber quit her job as a flight attendant to support Derek's demanding career. She had always planned to scale back her career no matter whom she married. Our families regularly interact as one big group. Thinking back to when I rescued Airport the cat, if Derek had not noticed Natalie's words then, we might not have this happiness today. Blessed with parents who respected each other's careers, I've been able to honor Natalie's profession in the same way. I am grateful for all these serendipitous connections. Watching Natalie excitedly discuss our next vacation, I cherished the happiness we have now.